Hi guys, my name is Alexa Score and I'm here for episode 2 with Quinn Douglas for the Iowa Hawkeye Fan Show. Quinn, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm the sports director of KRUI, the campus radio station here at the University of Iowa. So I cover Iowa football, Iowa men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, and whatever other sports we're able to cover. So that pretty much around the team. I'm around a lot of the programs quite a bit.
Okay, awesome. So you're from Iowa originally, right?
Yes, grew up.
What does the Hawkeye state mean to you? So what's your connection? Why did you choose Iowa?
Well, it's funny because you had Hawkeye Elvis on for your last episode. Hawkeye Elvis and I come from a similar background. I grew up 20 minutes away from Ames, actually in the same county that he's from, in a little town called Madrid. And actually my mom's family were all Iowa State graduates. But as a kid, I was so drawn to Iowa athletics, essentially, because Iowa athletics were a lot better than what Iowa State had to offer.
Yeah.
And eventually, I looking for schools, I was like, Iowa's got the better journalism program, and I really want to be a Hawkeye. So that was pretty much the end of that. So it's a decision I'm glad I made. I can say that for sure.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. So going on, this weekend's the Super Bowl, and there's 4 Hawkeyes that are in the Super Bowl. So let's just talk about those 4 Hawkeyes that did get that Super Bowl berth.
Yeah, I mean, for the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending world champions, Anthony Hitchens and Ben Neiman, they played a big role on that defense, especially towards the end of the season. Anthony Hitchens has started every game, put up a pretty solid year with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got about 45 tackles on the season. He's had a couple big games, one against my Las Vegas Raiders, had a couple big games down the stretch, and he had a good game in that AFC Championship against Buffalo. And Ben Neiman has done a really good job. He's been more of a situational type of linebacker for the Kansas City defense, and he has done a really good job coming up with key tackles on a lot of big third down plays. He had a couple big plays against Buffalo in the AFC Championship game on Sunday. So those two guys, they're going to have to play some of their best football, especially if you're going up against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as I mentioned that, like you said, they do have a couple Hawkeyes on their roster. Tristan Wirfs, obviously, first draft pick this past year, going from a year ago today. He was in Iowa City working out, doing off-season stuff, and now he's getting ready to play in the Super Bowl. And not only that, he's been perhaps one of the best offensive tackles in all of football this year. He allowed 1 sack. He's handled just about every matchup that's come his way. I mean, when you're facing Cam Jordan in New Orleans twice a year, you have to go up and face Khalil Mack up in Buffalo. The Packers the Packers pass rushers are just as good as any in the league. He had to go up against some really tough competition here year, and I by far and away passed every test he had to go up against. It was fantastic fantastic on Sunday against the Packers. Did a really good job. I also don't want to miss Anthony Nelson's name. He's done a really good job. He's been kind of converted from obviously a hand in the dirt 4-3 defensive end at Iowa. Now he's converted more to a stand-up 3-4 pass rusher, outside linebacker, defensive end hybrid, however you want to look at it. And he has put together some good given some good time off the bench for Tampa Bay in pass rushing situations. His length has been really key for Tampa Bay, and especially in pass rush downs. He can get to the quarterback really, really well. So it's definitely the 4 Hawkeyes in this game. They'll definitely have an impact. Maybe not, you're not looking at the impact of maybe obviously a Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or a Tom Brady, but their fingerprints will be on this football game. There's no question.
Yeah, definitely. And Tristan Wirfs definitely living up to his first-round pick as being in his rookie season. So, and then back on to Iowa basketball. So we missed some games due to COVID regulations. So we go to Champaign tomorrow to face Illinois, which is one of the best in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Iowa, Illinois. Those were the 2 top teams coming into the season in the Big Ten. They were 1-2 in a lot of people's preseason Big Ten polls. Illinois, they've struggled a little bit. They've already got 5 losses on the year. They've kind of struggled with depth off the bench. Obviously, we know about their starters. You're talking about Andre Feliz, Kofi Coburn, Ayo Dosunmu, who's also obviously candidate for National Player of the Year, along with Luka Garza. Those are 3 guys that have been really, really good. And I can't forget Trent Frazier, feels like he's been in Champaign forever, but he's been the starter for Illinois. But when it comes to the bench, don't have a whole lot coming off the bench. You got Georgi Bishanishvili, who started his freshman year, and he's been coming off the bench on kind of a 6-man role. But behind him, Illinois has really struggled to find production off the bench. And Iowa, it's looking like I put the over-under at about 5% that C.J. Frederick plays on Friday from everything I have heard from what Fran McCaffrey has said. Yeah. Looking very likely C.J. Frederick is not going to play on. The question for Iowa is, can they get that outside shooting back? Because you saw against Indiana, the outside shooting wasn't there. I mean, Jordan Bohannon going out for me. Joe Wieskamp getting locked down in the second half. Luka Garza was really the only kind of offense Iowa had in the second half against Indiana. And the Hawkeyes, and they know it. It was a wake-up call that lost to Indiana. And also, when you throw Iowa and Illinois, these are two teams that just don't like each other. These are teams that are not friendly with each other. You heard Joe Toussaint talk about it. You know, he's like, I really don't like anyone, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I don't like
Illinois. Is their only regular season matchup?
Mm-hmm. Which I can't believe. I think that's absolutely nuts. They're only playing once. But
I know, because last year they played twice. They played once in Carver and once in State Farm Arena.
Yeah, they played in Carver on Super Bowl Sunday, and then they ended their regular season at the State Farm Center. I was there for both games, and that game at State Farm Center, I mean, that's about as tense and as hostile of an environment I've been in for college basketball. I mean, that Illinois crowd was out for blood, and both were out for blood, and it was a very, very physical game. Obviously, there were even some technical fouls assessed, some little scuffles throughout the course of the game. I fully expect to see something, maybe not to the full extent that we saw last year. I definitely expect to see some fireworks with tensions between those two teams, because it's kind of like, it may not be to the level like it was when Tom Davis and Lou Henson were coaching at Iowa and Illinois respectively, but these are two teams that don't like each other. They do not, and they want to rip each other's throats out.
Game.
Yeah, they want to rip each other's throats out, and it's going to be a really, really good basketball game.
Mm-hmm. So coming off that loss to Indiana, what do you think the Hawks need to do to be better and get that W against the Illini?
Well, number one is shoot the basketball better. I mean, you can't only knock down 6 threes an entire game, especially when you're an offense like Iowa. You're very predicated on shooting the three ball. I mean, this Iowa team, let's face it, they live and die by the three. And it may not be as dire as some live by the three, die by the three teams I've seen. Iowa can make 8 or 9 threes, a lot below than what a lot of people expect, and they can still be fun. You've got the National Player of the Year in Luka Garza. But number one, Jordan Bohannon has to be shooting well, especially with the absence of C.J. Frederick. That's number one and foremost. Number two, you got to find a way to force Illinois to turn the ball over, because Illinois, outside of Io Dosunmu, they have not done a very good job of taking care of the basketball this year. If you can force Illinois to make mistakes, force turnovers, maybe even capitalize on some unforced turnovers, you got a heck of a shot to really build on a solid early lead at Illinois. And number three, I think it's just getting off to a fast start. After a game like Indiana, where it felt like you got off to a slow start, it was a grinder, then Indiana pretty much just imposed their will on Iowa in the second. It's really important for Iowa to get a quick start against Illinois. I'm not saying that if Iowa doesn't, it's over for them, but especially with no crowd being at the State Farm Center, getting off to a fast start would be the ideal way for Iowa to get that game started against Illinois.
Definitely, and they did have 12 turnovers their last games. They need to be just better at handling the ball and executing during the whole game like last week. The second half, it just was not there.
Yeah, they struggled to take care of the basketball. They really struggled to get anything going offensively. And with that, I think you have to give some of the credit to Indiana. Indiana had a great game plan, but fortunately for Indiana, the three-pointers just weren't going in. I mean, when Iowa's hitting their three-pointers, Iowa, there is nobody in the country that can stop Iowa. And there's really no way schematically you can slow down Iowa. All you have to hope for, your best bet to beat Iowa on any given night, is hoping Iowa's off from three. If Iowa's off from three, you got a heck of a chance if Luka Garza is going for 35 or 40.
Definitely. Okay. So do you think Iowa will be able to get this one done tomorrow in Champaign?
It's going to take a lot of grit. Now, that's something this team is not short on. This team is as mentally tough as a team as any in college basketball. I do truly believe that. We saw that throughout the course of last year with, a lot of the comeback wins they had a year ago, being down, obviously, at some points to 7 scholarship players on the roster and playing some big minutes with walk-ons on the floor. But this Iowa team, what they're not going to do is they're not going to quit. Now, whether or not they win or not, as of right now, I think I would probably have Illinois favored by 2 or 3 points. That doesn't mean that Iowa can't win. I would give Illinois the advantage because Iowa's going to be a little shorthanded. C.J. Frederick is a huge loss if he is not able to go on Friday or tomorrow night. If he does go, which would be, I think would be an absolute miracle if he does go, then I think the line would favor back towards Iowa. But right now, I would have Illinois as a 2 or 3 point, maybe even less, ahead of Iowa. But Iowa, if they can knock down their threes and force turnovers against Illinois, they'll get the win in Champaign.
Definitely. Do you have anything else to add for this today about basketball, football, anything?
No, I'm just saying I'm really excited for Friday night. Can't wait to watch. Actually, I'll be on for most of the first half. I'll probably be on my way back from working a high school game, so I'll tune into Gary and Bobby Hansen and try to catch the second half on TV. So I'm excited to watch some really good Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a very good game. Okay, thank you so much, Quinn. I really appreciate you coming on, and I'll be linking all his social medias in the links down below.
All right, thank you, Alexis.
Yeah, thank you.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.